Welcome back, friends. Last guy for your time for more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, so let's keep going here. There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? I would say the opposite is true.
And what's that supposed to mean?
Far from being impossible for you to do. The transporting of Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do! What are you talking about, Ryunosuke? As well as being a judge, Mr. Jigoku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London.
Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? I knew you were jealous.
Ah, wow, they brought that back. Well, caught me on that one, I didn't realize. I presume you recall this, Judge Jigoku? It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. As the court will note, you have with you your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside. Mr. Naruhodo, surely you're not suggesting. I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrivals from Japan in the hotel, the body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk! That is macabre as Jesus Christ.
Ugh. Order in the court!
I'm skeptical, Counsel, that a grown man's body could fit inside even the largest travel trunk. It could. Because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside his trunk. And verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Jigoku?
Ugh.
But inside his trunk? How horrifying! And after we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Fresno Street, taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body.
I don't have to listen to this nonsense.
Dr. Gori, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. She's acknowledged there are signs that steps may have been taken to disguise the true time of death. The onset of the body's decomposition could have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator.
Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the requisite size are few and far between.
Yes, I'm sure they are. But one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electrically refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyages. And the SS Grouse is no exception. Professor Mikotoba told me about it only yesterday. Well, Judge Jigoku? However much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer.
Well, this is all very heartening.
Huh?
I can see that it was a wise move, letting Asogi and you embark on the study tour.
What are you talking about now?
Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasonings in the new century. And I can see that you've both laid firm foundations for that already.
Judge Jigoku, please, stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond?
Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there?
Why ever not?
Because before you can even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical.
The actual scene of the crime? The prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. As the accused, Barrick von Zeeks, shot the victim at point-blank range. Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling. The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantly? I'm afraid it's the prosecution's claim. That's the only fairy tale here. Woohoo! Oh! How can you say that? Quite simply, because that claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession. Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you had better explain yourself to the court, don't you? The prosecution claims that Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. But this evidence clearly contradicts that claim. What does that? I can only guess the box, but I have no idea. Like, what? I have evidence here? Save. Okay, alright, box.
Take that!
Nope. The Japanese really are a curious breed. To proffer an argument with such conviction, only to present such nonsensical evidence. Perhaps my Nipponese friend's inexplicable thinking is why people talk of the mystique of the East. In case you hadn't noticed, I'm not the only Japanese around here. Do you even have a mirror? The court is not interested in the mystique of anything. You will be penalized accordingly. Was the victim killed in the room on Fresno Street, or was he moved there after his death? There's only one piece of evidence we have that shows the answer to that question surprisingly clearly. Perhaps we should try to present the correct one this time then, Miss Naruhodo. Are you going to try again, or can't you hold your hand steady enough to point it out? The prosecution... Oh, here we go. You got me, game. I don't know what it could possibly be. Try this.
Take that!
A photograph of the victim in the very location who claim he wasn't killed.
Yes, but the point is the posture of the body itself. If Inspector Gregson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question that his body would have been curled up in a ball like that.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. You could easily have adopted that foetal position due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal.
Objection!
Photo? Well, that was photo. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Jigoku, but it's your logic that is flawed.
What?
According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position.
Oh!
Which begs the question of why the victim's body is curled up in that way. Though the answer should be abundantly clear by now.
You're suggesting...
The inspector's body took on that posture ahead of its arrival on Fresno Street, before it was coldly turned out on the floor, from the inside of a large travel trunk.
No!
You're quite right, the shape of the body. It looks exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space. Judge Jigoku, present your trunk for examination. I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood.
Ugh! Present my trunk? I refuse.
What? On what grounds?
I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some Stripling's baseless accusations.
In other words, Jigoku. There's blood in your trunk. Man, she is just going for his ass. She has been on him.
I decline to answer that. As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges that allow me to.
At this moment, you're not a government minister. You're a witness in a trial in Britain's highest court. I don't care who you are or what your status outside this courtroom might be. You will not withhold information. Yeah, they don't have the Fifth Amendment here. Nothing is more important than the truth.
Order in court. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what's it to be?
I could deliver that better.
Order in court. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what's it to be?
There you go.
You can't be serious. You did it? Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Asogi?
What?
Very well, I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country. Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense.
What?
You! Dear God, outrageous!
So it was you? You admit to Inspector Gregson's murder?
No, I admit to nothing more than what I've said.
Huh?
Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection.
What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean?
I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin. In order to avoid unwanted attention, as the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean. So I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else.
You can't still deny it. If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill the man?
As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity.
Yeah, of course he's gonna bring it up over here.
And moreover, he had already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life.
Oh.
That's right. Who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Asogi.
Ah, nice. He thought that on the fly. Wow, well done. That's the only move he could make. And the problem is Kazuma has that sword piece to, implicate him, so what the hell's going on with that?
You...
I never thought you'd stoop to this, Seshiro Jigoku.
You've taken the words straight out of my mouth. Prosecutor, Kazuma Asogi. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could pin the crime on me, did you?
Well, the prosecution counsel has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question.
Yes, on an assassination mission, no less.
You wouldn't.
So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more.
I don't believe this.
Counsel for the defense. What is your position now? The court awaits a response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Asogi.
This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer's right in front of me. It comes down to Jigoku, or Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well, the defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. The idea that the victim's murder could have been committed by Prosecutor Asogi is... I feel like we're not supposed to say impossible and fight from there, but dude uses swords, not guns. Let's just say impossible. Judge Goku, let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. You claimed that logical reasoning is the future of the judicial process.
It is, no question.
Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Asogi to commit the crime.
What? The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. So present what you have, counsel. What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the possibility of Prosecutor Asogi's involvement?
I don't know. Crap. Okay. This music's kicking pretty good, though, by the way. Oh my god. I don't know. Okay. Is it the sword? Is it the sword? Okay. This music's really good, by the way. Oh my god. What proves it couldn't have been Kazuma? My only guesses are the sword or the blade in the trunk. Alright, let's just take a 50-50 shot here.
Take that!
Oh, I got it wrong. You're making the evidence weep here, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Sorry. Every piece of evidence has a role to play in arriving at the truth. They're not playthings you can toss around the courtroom for entertainment. Ah, crap. Ah! Oh yeah, I got it wrong. Let's try the sword then. Never mind the evidence. You're about to make me weep, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no! I can't upset Sasato-san, or I'll end up being upset too. We know a member of the crew was on sentry duty outside the first-class cabins nearly all the time. So as long as the guard was there, it would have been impossible to fire a shot without it being heard. And that very much narrows down when the crime could have been committed. Okay. Okay, alright, so what? We're doing this again? The drill? Drill.
Take that!
Yep, music's still playing. Alright. This itinerary for crew members of the SS Grouse, my lord. This is conclusive proof.
An itinerary? How does that prove anything?
Judge Goku, the moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin. This itinerary suddenly became much more significant.
What? Why?
On the night in question, as always, a crewman sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin. Absolutely, because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate. So that tells us that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. And that narrows it down to 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock, as indicated on the itinerary.
Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far.
But the crucial point is this. When the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk. Ooh, didn't catch that one.
Ugh.
Now, clearly the murder could have only been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at the time. But Prosecutor Asogi stated in yesterday's proceedings, I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in town, and returned to England the following morning. Which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof that Kazuma Asogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killing.
Oh!
Hold it,
No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all.
What do you mean?
The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby on the ship. Just waiting for his chance to come back and finish the...
No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma? As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book. All extremely easy to verify and undeniable proof.
Oh, no,
Alright, so the lesson is always have an alibi, kids. There's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or a government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer, as a common man. You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then you dumped the body in the room on Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. That's what really happened, isn't it? Sashiro Jigoku? Sashiro.
It was that damn trial 10 years ago. That's when it all happened. That's when it all began. Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already.
This is gonna hurt my throat so bad. Ah! Woo! He did it again! Dude's strong. Woo!
It's over. My life is over.
Man, Black really is slimming. He doesn't look as big as he should be to do that.
A British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan. A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands. The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. Though it was hardly a request, it was a demand.
And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Asogi. But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain. And you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement. Because I was already on my way to Britain at the time, in Cosimo's place.
And that left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. To eliminate the mark myself, personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that.
The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume?
That's right. I decided it would be safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain. So I enlisted the help of my British counterpart, and made arrangements for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper.
What? The Reaper? But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation. The Reaper himself. Ah! So that means that the assassin exchange was all planned by the Reaper, who apparently was in the government.
I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. But it was all a trap designed to lead him to France and his own death.
Oh, how awful. Gina must not be feeling this right now.
It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I didn't give him time to attack me. I choked him until he lost consciousness.
Oh, choked him out, dang.
But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time, waiting.
For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock.
I had intended to finish him by strangulation, but moments before I had the chance, he suddenly came around and went for me in a reckless move.
Bang!
I'd received the British-issued gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student. I never imagined I'd have to use it for something like that.
So the revolver belongs to you, does it? Then the victim was killed inside your cabin on the SS Grouse. Which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the room on Fresno Street.
The young judiciary assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way I could take the body up on deck and throw it over the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered with the evacuation drill. So before the first-class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigeration room.
And then on arriving in Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police. How did no one find the body in the refrigerator is my question. Nobody was in the fridge at any point?
I knew I needed to take steps that the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London.
In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule.
Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon, in order to meet a man by the name of Hugh Boone, from whom he would take back his police identification.
Wow, the people really knew what he was doing. Ah.
I decided that man would be the perfect person to set up as the culprit. So I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk.
That must have been just after we took this photograph with you at the hotel then. A freaking body in there.
Yes, I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling little firecrackers.
Miss Venus, of course.
I conceived of the candle trick there and then. So I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy in a firecrackers to replicate a gunshot.
What sort of disguise?
For some reason, the inspector had a bright red headpiece in his own traveling case. So I put that on, although I suspect I drew more attention to myself in that than I would have otherwise.
Yeah! The hairpiece we found at the scene, the inspector had it ready for the Red-Headed League investigation.
I only arrived at the room at around 5:15, so I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board and set up my little candle trick. I arranged it so the firecrackers would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later.
Well, the ability to math that out. So that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would have walked straight into the trap?
Except, at the last moment, I made a careless blunder.
What was that? I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips. Ah!
I didn't notice that it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to the refrigeration room. I put it back into his pocket the following morning, but... well, it seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish.
Oh, right, that part. His infinite fish and chips.
Anyway, that's everything. All the sort of details of what I did.
Huh. Alright. We still gotta deal with the professor case after this. Because we still don't know who the Reaper is.
I've heard enough. We've arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days.
No diplomatic immunity?
For a crime of such a vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty.
An exchange of assassins? What a foolhardy idea. Mr. Jigoku, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who was the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? He's not at liberty to say. Nothing you say now can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us!
Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say.
Even though, as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again?
What are you waiting for? Can't we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it.
The counterpart is someone way more powerful.
I'm finished.
Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us has admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson. In fact, he has control over that. Sashiro Jigoku, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found guilty. But he's not the one on court right now, it's Von Zieks. And I may remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court. No rabble? Alright. We still have another case to deal with, though. Like, we're not done. Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and in subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt. Oh, wonderful. Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, thank you. Is something wrong? There's some questions. I'm just a little troubled by his silence. The true identity of the Reaper of the Bailey and this extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about these mysteries, however. Insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries. As a prosecutor. As you wish. Now, for the formal adjudication, I hereby declare the defendant, Barak Von Zieks, also guilty. What? Okay, here we go, Kazuma. Kazuma is not done. He still thinks Von Zieks is the Reaper. The prosecution calls for adjudication to be deferred. What? Counsel? The accused's innocence hasn't been fully established at all, and therefore it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. We're not done? That is the prosecution's unwavering position. What? But Judge Jigoku had already confessed. Nevertheless, Barak Von Zieks has committed crimes for which he must be punished. Well, it would appear you have information that the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Osogi. Certainly. The murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Sashiro Jigoku. But it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot. Into this sick, merciless assassin exchange. That may be true, but... So what I want to know is, who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings? The victim went to France having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order. As we've already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Barak Von Zieks, of being the Reaper of the Bailey, and furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt, beyond all reasonable doubt. What? Rubber. Order! The Reaper of the Bailey.
is a long-standing mystery, Council. Are you suggesting you have some new information with which to build a case?
Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Von Zeeks very thoroughly in that regard, and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper.
Perhaps, but circumstances have now changed.
What do you mean?
It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Jigoku by the Reaper himself. Which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intentions here.
I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name.
You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Von Zeeks. And I will bring you to justice for it. Whatever it takes. I think he believes his father was innocent and Varric brought him down, so... That explains Cosmo's silence before. He'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Von Zeeks unwittingly started 10 years ago. Very well. Whilst it's extremely irregular, I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he has had with the Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely. I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing. Still going! Oh my god, this case. Alright. Here's the thing. If Strongheart's the Reaper, this is gonna be really weird that he kept going.
Pray turn a blind eye to the discourtesy I verify that this vile and unremitting accusation hasn't soured the contents of my hallowed chalice.
Lord Von Zeeks!
I first had to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now. And ever since that time, I've endured the weight of implied guilt that's gone with it.
Break.
Yep. So I welcome the chance to testify now, and crush those allegations once and for all.
Good. Then let justice decide, Lord Von Zeeks. The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Bailey. And what says the defense?
Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous. And Kazuma-sama is so emotional at the moment, he's not thinking logically.
You're right that he's not himself. But I knew it would be like this. And I came here today determined to face him through whatever might arise. As a lawyer, and as his friend.
Then that's what we must do.
The defense has no objection, my lord. Very well. Defendant, you will take the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the Assassin Exchange.
As you wish, my lord.
Oh god, can my throat handle anymore? Might need to take a break. The Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. No, we'll take a break. One should be smart about their throat. So we'll stop here, and we'll do more tomorrow, next time. So that is it for now. I had fun, hope you had fun watching. That's what's up, Bezit. Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.